Hello, I am crime writer Brenda Chapman. I am currently the Crime Writers of Canada Director for Ottawa and Eastern Ontario. And this is the third in a series of videos introducing you to some of the very talented author members in our region. And today I'm delighted to introduce Barry Finlay, who is the author of the Marcie Kane Thriller Collection. Hello, Barry.
Hi, Brenda. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I mean, we've never met in person, but I understand we have a few things in common. We both live in Ottawa, and we
Yeah.
both worked for the federal government for a number of years. And you had a 32-year career in accounting, which isn't a field I would think lends itself to fiction, crime fiction, and dead bodies. But why and when did you become interested in writing fiction?
Well, I actually started writing nonfiction. I wrote 2 nonfiction books, and then I wasn't sure I could write fiction. I'm an accountant, as you mentioned, and I'm not sure accountants are supposed to be creative. And if they are too creative, they end up in jail. I'm a big fan of crime books, and so I thought I'd give it a try to see if it was a challenge, and I thought I'd see if I could do it.
Yeah.
And it's worked out okay. I'm 5 books into it now.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm kind of fascinated by your life after retirement. At age 60, you decided, when most people are taking it easy, you decided to climb a mountain in Africa. So what possessed you to do that, and how did it go?
It actually started as with a visit to my doctor. Told me my triglycerides were elevated, and so I asked how I could prevent that. He said the diet and exercise were the only ways to bring them down. So on the way home from the doctor, I stopped at a Good Life gym and signed up with a personal trainer. It turned out she was a 22-year-old, very energetic and active young woman who just about killed me at the beginning. But over time, I found that my fitness level improved, and then my 60th birthday was approaching, so I decided I wanted to do something with that. So we combined the 60th birthday with the newfound energy. And my son had been to South Africa a couple of years prior and had the opportunity to climb Kilimanjaro at that time. The time and money got in the way. So I asked him if he wanted to go, and he agreed. And so off the 2 of us went to climb a mountain.
Wow, and you made it.
It actually went very well. You get desperately, there's a desperate lack of oxygen around 16,000 feet, and you start to get headaches and nausea and that kind of thing. And it treats different people differently. My son actually had a bigger problem than I did.
Wow.
But we both managed to make it to the top. It's got nothing to do with your strength or your endurance or anything. It's just kind of a crapshoot.
Wow.
How you react to it. And we made it, and we're happy we did.
Yeah, that's quite a feat. And you also received the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal for your philanthropic work in Tanzania since retirement. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, it was connected to the climb. My son and I decided we wanted to use the mountain as a platform for raising some money. And we wanted to do it for the kids of Tanzania. Yeah. So we connected with Plan Canada, which is a child-centered organization. And we managed to raise $15,000 before we left. We put all the donors' names on a Canadian flag and carried the flag with us to the top. And then we presented it to the school that we were helping to fund. So over time, we continued to do that. My wife and I continued to raise money for Tanzania. And we've managed to fund a classroom, to drill a well, to help some young women start small businesses. And we started worked on a sanitation project. So we managed to raise about $200,000, I guess, over a number of years through various events. We held golf tournaments and a variety show every year. It's just been a great experience. And my wife and I went back in 2011 to see the projects. And we planned to go back last year, but life got in the way. So
And now
that's still on the radar.
well, that's really amazing, and congratulations for that, the medal.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
So your books are as interesting as your life since retirement. Some are memoirs that combine travel and humor. You also dabble in the thriller genre, recently releasing The Burden of Darkness, which is book 5 in the Marcie Kane Thriller Collection. Could you first tell us about the travel memoirs?
Yeah, the first one was called Kilimanjaro and Beyond. So my son and I wrote that. And it's the story of our journey from the bottom of the mountain, well, the preparation and going up the mountain and the fundraising aspect. The second one, I actually have them here. The second one was called I Guess We Missed the Boat.
Okay.
And that's about travel with my in-laws. So there are some interesting stories that have come out of that. There are a bunch of characters, so I wanted to kind of document our travels. And it was actually written for the family, but it's turned out that a lot of people have an interest in it, especially retirees who have traveled. Some who've also traveled with their in-laws. So yeah, that's what that one's about.
There's some humor in there, I imagine.
There's quite a bit of humor. I think it's funny anyway. I'm not sure my in-laws do.
And what is your son's name?
Chris.
Chris, okay.
Chris, yeah.
Chris Finlay.
Yeah.
Okay. And now the Marcie Kane Thrillers. Where are they set, and who is Marcie Kane?
The easy question first. Marcie Kane is an independent, recently divorced African-American woman who finds herself in trouble in every book. And the books stand alone, but the characters evolve. Marcie evolves. She ages like everybody does, and things happen in her life. And she's in kind of a rough spot in the second book personally, and then she finds a way out of that. So it chronicles her life, I guess, as she gets into trouble throughout the series. As for where they're set, they're all over the place. Marcie and her husband to become are living in Gulfport, Florida, and the St. Petersburg area. But the books all seem to tie into places I've been. So the first book, they end up going from Florida it ends up in Gatineau, Quebec. But the second one takes place in Africa. It's set in Florida, but there's an African part to it. The third one is in Southeast Asia, China. And the fourth one is kind of all throughout North America. So, and the fifth one ends up in Arizona. So my friends always say that they know where they're going to be set after I've gone somewhere.
So, people who like to travel, these are great reads.
Yeah, and I like to be able to thoroughly explain where the setting is, and I think the only way you can really do that is to have been there. So, so that's why I do that. The one I'm working on now, which we may get to at some point, but the one I'm working on now is, since I haven't been anywhere, is actually set in Ottawa.
Okay. Yeah, of course, we're stuck here with the pandemic. Yeah. Now, authors are asked on occasion to give the elevator pitch, which is sort of a 1-minute pitch for their latest release. So could you do that for Burden of Darkness, the 5th in the series?
Yeah, I'll show you what that one looks like too. That's the Burden of Darkness, but it's Nathan Harris, who is Marcie's husband, who becomes Marcie's husband, is a former FBI agent. He's now a consultant for the FBI, and he's got PTSD as a result of the cases he's been on. All of my books have a socially relevant theme, and this one is PTSD. But his adversary has a terminal disease. So the short form of the elevator pitch is that Nathan has everything to gain, and his adversary has nothing to lose. So the two of them are two desperate men going in opposite directions, and that's the 1-minute pitch.
Okay, that's great. And you touched on it, but what are you working on now? It's set in Ottawa? your sixth one?
Yeah, it's set in Ottawa. Well, I've actually got two projects going. The first one is my other son, Trevor, is a singer-songwriter in Nashville.
Hmm.
And so he's working on narrating and producing an audiobook for me. The first book in the Marcie Kane Thriller Collection, The Vanishing Wife.
Mhm.
So that's going to be out in audio format, hopefully before Christmas. It's going to be touch and go, but it's well on its way. So hopefully before Christmas.
That's great.
The other thing I'm working on is I decided to give Marcie and Nathan a well-earned vacation. So I'm introducing a new character called Jake Scott. And Jake is a retired newspaper reporter who is bored and lonely. He lives with an overweight cat by the name of Oliver, and he's really got nothing to do, and all of a sudden a crime falls in his lap. So, and it's completely set in Ottawa.
So it's not a six in the series. It's a different.
No,
Okay.
no, it's actually going to be a mystery, a whodunit, as opposed to a thriller.
Okay.
So something different again.
Yeah. Well, you've had a
Keep
very
me interested.
varied and interesting life, and it continues. I'm going to close with a few snapper questions, just to find out a little more insight into Barry Finlay. So, where did you grow up?
I was born in Brandon, Manitoba, and raised in a small town north of Brandon called Rapid City. It's a town of about 412 people.
Okay.
The population has never changed.
Yeah, my hometown was 2,000, so I have you beat.
Yeah, big city by my standards.
Now, you enjoy traveling with your wife, Evelyn, and what is your favorite holiday destination?
Yeah, that's a tough one. They're all favorites for different reasons, but I like the heat. I'm not a big fan of winter, so I guess a favorite would have to be Hawaii or Barbados. We spent a month in Barbados a couple of years ago, and that was fantastic.
Wow.
Southeast Asia was great because it's warm and so on. You can't beat Canada, though. It's always nice to come back, and friendly people and beautiful scenery.
Yeah,
You can't beat that.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any other hobbies besides mountain climbing and traveling?
Well, I like hiking, obviously, and trying to stay in shape. I play a lot of golf in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually teaching myself guitar with the help of YouTube videos, and I've been doing that for 2 or 3 years. And I can play a few songs very badly now, so that's something else I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I have 3 grandkids too, so that's
they will keep.
always fun.
Yeah.
Always fun to spend time with them.
What is the last book you read, or the book you're reading now?
Last one I read was David Baldacci's, what was it called? The Forgotten.
Forgotten.
And it was a good book.
Yeah. And which author do you most admire?
Yeah, I get asked that question a lot, and I've never really come up with a reasonable answer. I've got the whole collection of Irving Wallace, if you go back years. I read most of Stephen King's books, but now I guess I focus more on crime writers like David Baldacci and Lee Childs and people like that.
It's good to read the kind of books that you want to write or are writing, just to get some inspiration.
I think so. I think, yeah, they give you ideas, and I think it helps in the process.
How long does it take you to write the first draft of a manuscript?
I'm not one of those people that can sit down at 8 o'clock in the morning and write until noon. I kind of write when I feel like it. So it takes me about 6 months probably to do a manuscript, and then it has to go through the editing process and all that. So it takes about a year, I think, from the time I.
Yeah, and what's something people might be surprised to learn about you?
Well, one thing I used to do was wood carving. I was a wood carver a number of years while I was working. I found it to be a stress reliever, and because it's kind of mindless, and so I won a few awards for my wood carving. But when I retired, I actually stopped doing it because I guess I wasn't stressed anymore. But it may be something I'll go back to when I get old.
Well, in close, I mean, it's been great talking to you, Barry, and I hope one day we can meet in person when this
Yes.
pandemic is over. Uh, where can people go to find out more about your books or to purchase them?
I'm on all social media, but you can go to www.barry-finlay.com.
Okay.
They're on Amazon. Just look me up on Amazon, and or Facebook and Instagram, or all the social media.
And we'll also put your website link in the description of this video so people can find it there too. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, I wish you much success with your writing.
My pleasure. Thanks very much.